Welcome to another presentation at the East Trade Winds. Our guest is Mark Hayward from Podcast Introduction Group. Mark is a recognized expert in podcast guesting and business growth. With nearly 2 decades of experience spanning both corporate and entrepreneurial worlds, Mark helps entrepreneurs, authors, and thought leaders grow their visibility and credibility by landing high-impact podcast guest spots that align with their brand and business goals. He's also the host of Business Growth Talks, where for over 7 years he's interviewed top business minds to uncover proven strategies for scaling, customer retention, and financial growth.
So I'm going to be talking to you today about how podcast guesting can grow your business. I'm going to do it really quite briefly, but the most important thing that you probably already know is that podcast guesting is booming in 2025. Global reach is now 464 million. That means that they are regularly listening to podcasts globally. The reason why podcasting is so important is that it has that long-term credibility that you have with a long-term conversation, a long format conversation. It's able to build trust with the audience. So when people are being interviewed, there's opportunities to be able to talk about your journey, how you serve your clients, and how you grew your business. And so there's a depth to the conversation that you don't get with other types of medium. So I genuinely believe that trust and credibility is one of the best ways of being able to do that is through podcast guesting. And the bonus is that your content is evergreen. As long as you're not talking about newsworthy topics. The example I'm going to give you later on, this guy messaged me about 3 months ago to say, I stopped working with you. I worked with you for 12 months. And 6 months after we finished the contract, someone reached out to me of listening to an episode that I'd done last year, and it's still turning in clients and turning in leads. So as long as you've got evergreen content, it can outlast other types of medium. Okay, what does it actually do? What does podcast guesting do? We're talking about being a guest on other people's shows to be the main focus of that show and be that person that shows their expertise, their knowledge, and their experience. So what it does is it creates visibility to new audiences. So going on other people's shows, people listen to shows for 2 main reasons. They either like the host and they listen to every episode, or they've listened to the episode and then they cherry pick the episodes that they want to go to. So you're getting the audience that the host already has. And often that is very difficult to be able to replicate in other marketing channels. You can position yourself as the authority in that area of expertise. It's a fantastic way of being able to be the thought leader, be that go-to person. And we've talked about trust before. It's building relationships through authentic conversations. So you're talking naturally, you're sharing, you're adding value, you're having the stories, you're talking about your key messages, and that is a great way of being able to build trust. And most people that work with us are looking to convert listeners into clients. So we do not have any sort of guarantees, but in so many of these examples, people are leveraging, either if it's a product or service, they're leveraging those listeners and maybe transitioning through a funnel or through different touch points, whether it's connected on LinkedIn, whether it's an email address, whether it's a discovery call, whatever it is, it's a fantastic way of being able to generate leads, which is sometimes not always assumed when people are working with us. So it is definitely part of the package of working with us. So I built this framework called the 5 C's, which I think is an incredible way of being able to explain why podcast guesting can be so important to business owners. So stories, stats, and the positioning that you have with the knowledge, the depth of knowledge that you have on your industry. It's not a pitch. You're not doing something like this, which is me just talking for 10 minutes. It's actually a conversation. And there is a lot of enjoyment and a lot of value that people get by having it as a conversation rather than just doing a speech talking about your product or service. Talked about evergreen content. It's there. It will always be there. It can generate leads later. Conversions, so soft call to action, that's what we talk about, so that you're not doing a hard sell constantly, you're adding value, you're sharing knowledge and experience, but then at the end, you're talking about how people can connect with you. And you can be clear on who you serve. Who are the people what is the niche that is important to you that you can get, that you can serve, that you can help, and the people that you're solving the problems for? As I said about this case study of this leadership coach. So he worked with us for 12 months, did 24 shows over the 12 months. He generated, according to this, 3 new clients. I can now update that it's actually 4 new clients. The other 3 came in the 12 months. And he was able, which was surprising to him, he was able to start a course with a podcast host that interviewed him. And that was a great way of being able to generate another revenue stream by creating that course with the podcast host. You're building relationships with the audience, but you're also building relationships with the podcast host as well. And if you're open to those opportunities, you never know what those opportunities might be if you're available to them. This is just a very simple way of clarifying what a bad guest is versus what a great guest is. So I'm just going to run through this quite quickly. A bad guest often talks about themselves only. They will only offer generic advice. They won't talk about case studies. They won't tell interesting stories. And at the end, it's really frustrating. Even if you've been a good guest, if you have no clear call to action at the end, people don't know what the next step is after listening to that podcast. So that would be talking about themselves only, giving generic advice, and no clear call to action. A great guest is being able to solve the audience's problems, putting yourself in the other people's shoes and what they might be interested in, what they might be valuing, and trying to solve those problems. Storytelling is super important, is such an important aspect of podcast guesting. Being able to tell me a fact that's interesting, you back it up with a compelling story, whether it's a case study, whether it's something that's happened to you in your business. It's a great way of being able to leverage podcast guesting. And as I said here, clear call to action is a great way of being able to tell people what that next step is. So this is what we do. We will find you the right audience for your service with us. So we will find you shows that fit your niche, what your niche is. We will focus on those niches, the targeting the audiences. Most people either want to talk to 2 things. They want to be the thought leader and that go-to person, or they want to talk directly to their ideal client. We work with you to be able to be either option. We will be able to get you to those shows that way. Look, there are ways of being able to do this through Listen Notes, Podmatch, but working with us, we give you a full service, full turnkey solution. And also we will give you details we will help you with coaching, which I'll come to in a minute, and we will help you be able to build those relationships. This is something which is thought about, but often not done enough. Every interview that you as a guest on, you should be repurposing. I put 7+. I think it actually should be nearer 10+ pieces of content, whether that's getting the full interview and cutting it up as social media clips, or putting it in on your website, for example. That's another great way of being able to leverage podcast guesting. You should be using it as email newsletters. So any other marketing channels, we can help you with that. But email newsletters is a great way of being able to clarify and show the shows that you've been on, add the highlights to your website, and also just be really great and be able to tag people in on the hosts on social media when you're promoting their episodes. And we've talked about this earlier, but it is so important. You need to be able to share a call to action to make sure that people know what that next step is. So just a few examples, whether it's a free resource going to a website or a landing page to be able to download something to give you more information about your area of expertise, something like connecting on LinkedIn to be able to talk further, and also being able to reciprocate, check out what the podcast host is doing. So I've given you a whistle-stop tour. There is so much more that we do here. We are building a great element of coaching as part of the service. So if you've never done podcast guesting as well, we can help you get to that point where you are ready and primed to be able to be a podcast guest. If you want to reach out to me, go over to 2 places. Go to our website, podcastintroduction.com, and go to the Contact Us. We can set up a discovery call, or DM me on LinkedIn, and we can also arrange a call if you'd like to know more about my business. Whistle Stop Tour, 10 minutes.
Unlock the full potential of networking with East Trade Winds. Are you eager to connect with our esteemed guest speaker and delve deeper into the ever-expanding universe of connections? Simply scan the QR code now and embark on a journey of endless opportunities. Join us at East Trade Wins, where we gather online via Zoom every Tuesday from 8 to 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Whether you're a seasoned professional or just starting out, you're welcome to connect with us. Seize the moment, register for free, and start exploring today. Fancy sharing your insights as a guest speaker? We're looking for you. Reach out to Wayne Pratt to ignite your speaking journey. Email him at wayne@motivateyou.ca or connect with Wayne on LinkedIn. Don't wait. Take action and be a part of a global community that's shaping the future of business networking.